Dr. Elara Voss used to describe Mars with one word: quiet. Not the calm quiet of a beach, but the hard quiet of a place that did not care if anyone lived or died. Mars looked like a painting made from dust and stone. It had no trees, no birds, no water running in the open. It had wind, but the wind was thin. It had color, but the color was mostly the same red and brown. It had beauty, but it was the kind of beauty that could hurt you if you forgot where you were. That night, the crew were inside Habitat A, a metal bubble sitting on the edge of a wide plain. The lights were low to save power. The air inside was warm enough for humans, but it always felt a little dry, a little recycled, a little too clean. Machines worked all the time to keep the air safe. Fans pushed air through filters. Sensors watched oxygen, carbon dioxide, pressure, and temperature. The habitat was never truly silent. It was full of small, steady noises that meant life. Jun Park was on duty at the communications desk. Jun was not a loud person. He was the kind of engineer who listened carefully and spoke only when he needed to. He trusted numbers more than feelings. He trusted patterns, but only after he had tested them. Jun sat in front of 3 screens. He was reviewing a routine stream of data from the antenna array and the subsurface sensors. Most nights, this work was boring. You scan, you check, you log, you move on. But tonight, Jun was stuck on something he could not explain. He had noticed it earlier, almost by accident. A tiny repeated bump in the data, hidden inside the normal noise. At first, he thought it was a software glitch, or a bad filter, or a loose cable. He told himself it was nothing. Then he saw it again. Then again. And the more he tried to remove it, the more it stayed. Dr. Elara Voss should have been resting. She had been outside earlier for a short inspection, and Mars always took more from the body than it seemed to. But Elara had a habit of checking on the crew. She had learned the hard way that small problems become big problems when people stop talking. Elara entered the main module and noticed Jun at the desk. He was still working, still focused, still staring. She walked behind him and waited a moment, listening to the habitat's steady hum. "Jun," she said, "why are you still on this?" Jun turned his head slowly, like he had been pulled out of deep water. He did not look excited. He looked careful. He looked worried. "There is a pattern," he said. "It is buried in the noise." Elara leaned in. On the screens she saw waveforms, spikes, and static. It looked like the usual mess of space communication. Mars had dust. The sun had storms. Their own equipment had limits. Noise was normal. "Show me," Elara said. Jun tapped a few keys. He zoomed in. He removed a layer of filtering. He highlighted a thin repeated shape. The pattern went like this: a pulse, a pause, another pulse, another pause, then a longer pause. Then it started again. Alara's eyes narrowed. The pattern was faint, but it was there. The spacing was too even to ignore. "How often?" Elara asked. "Every 47 seconds, Jun said. "Almost exactly." Elara kept her voice steady. "This could be our systems, a fan cycle, a pump cycle, a heater relay." "I checked," Jun said. "I compared it to every internal cycle we log. It does not match. I ran diagnostics. I swapped processing paths. I even assumed I made it up and tried to prove it was a mistake." "And you could not," Elara said. Jun shook his head. "It keeps repeating." Elara pointed the origin map on the corner of his screen. "Where is it coming from?" Jun brought up a subsurface overlay, a rough model built from radar and seismic readings. He tapped a region marked as Aeolus Deep. "Underground," he said. "Not from the surface, not from orbit, under the regolith." Elara felt a small chill in her chest. Mars was one thing when it was empty and open. Mars became something else when it had a hidden depth you could not see. "Show me raw," Elara said. Jun pulled the raw stream. The pattern was still there, weaker and uglier, but real. Elara watched it for several cycles. She counted the seconds with her mind. The pattern held. "Record everything," Elara said. "Continuous capture, no trimming, no smoothing. I want a clean data set." Jun nodded and started the recording. For the next 10 minutes, the signal repeated without change. The habitat kept humming. The crew were asleep in their bunks. Outside, Mars looked frozen. Then Jun spoke again. "There is another link." Elara did not look away from the waveform. "With what?" Jun pulled up a graph of atmospheric pressure. Mars pressure moved up and down slightly through the day as temperatures shifted. The changes were small compared to Earth, but they were measurable. "When pressure rises, the pulses get stronger," Jun said. "When pressure drops, they weaken." Elara stared. That was strange. It could still be natural, like gas moving through cracks. But the timing was too neat, too consistent. "That does not mean it is intelligent," Elara said, mostly to herself. Jun nodded. "I know, but it reacts." Elara took a slow breath. "Run correlation against everything again. Full cycle list. Fans, valves, scrubbers, heater, comms bursts, all of it." Jun did. The results came back with no match. Elara asked for one more check. "Seismic feed." Jun opened the seismometer log from the small sensor array outside. The line was mostly flat, with tiny jitter. Then a small tremor appeared, barely above noise. Jun zoomed in and placed a marker. The tremor landed during the long pause between pulse clusters. Alara's throat tightened. The pattern was not only repeating, it was tied to the planet's physical movement. Jun looked at her. "It lines up." Elara remembered an old lesson from Earth. When independent systems line up, you pay attention. You may still be wrong, but you do not dismiss it. "Wake Commander Cade," Elara said. Jun hesitated. "We do not know what it is." "That is why we wake her," Elara replied. Jun sent the alert. A chime sounded in the commander's module. A moment later, the door slid open and Commander Mara Cade stepped out. Cade moved with quick control. She was not the kind of leader who panicked. She was the kind who asked hard questions. Her hair was tied back. Her eyes were already sharp. "What is it?" she asked. Elara explained fast. Repeating signal. "Underground source. Not our machines. It links to pressure and a tiny tremor." Cade leaned into the screen. She watched the pattern repeat. She did not say anything for a full cycle. "How sure is this not our kit?" Cade asked. "Not fully sure," Elara said, "but diagnostics show no internal match." Cade nodded once. "ISAC!" The Habitat AI responded in a calm voice. "Yes, Commander." "Run full diagnostics on comms, antenna, and sensor integrity," Cade said. "Flag anything abnormal." "Understood," ISAC replied. "Estimated time 8 minutes." Cade turned back to Elara. "Hypothesis." Elara chose careful language. "Best case, it is a natural process. Gas, ice, stress change, something responding to pressure cycles. And worst case," Cade said. Elara paused. She could feel Jun waiting. She could feel her own mind resisting. "Worst case," Elara said, "it is engineered." Cade's face remained steady, but her eyes hardened. "Engineered by what?" Elara did not like that question. "I do not know," she said, "but it behaves like a designed pattern." Jun whispered, unable to stop himself. "It sounds like breathing." Cade gave him a quick look that was not unkind but was firm. "Keep it technical," she said. Jun nodded, embarrassed. Cade looked at the map overlay. "Can we triangulate?" "With limited arrays, rough bearing," Elara said. Jun straightened. "I can do it." "Do it," Cade said. While Jun worked, Alara's mind drifted like it always did when fear arrived. It drifted to the thing she cared about most. Lena. Lena was Alara's daughter on Earth. Lena was 9, small and stubborn, with a habit of asking questions that landed like stones. Lena had begged Elara not to go to Mars. Elara had promised she would come back. Elara had promised it would be safe. Those promises felt heavy on Mars, because Mars did not respect promises. Elara opened her message queue. Lena's last video was waiting. It was already old by the time it arrived, because space made everything late. Lena's face filled the screen. She smiled, missing one tooth. "Hi, Mum," she said in the video. "I counted the days. I miss you. I drew you in Mars. I made the Mars really big so you are not lonely." Elara closed the video gently, like closing a door in a quiet room. She did not want Jun or Cade to see her eyes change. Jun's voice pulled her back. "Bearing is in." He showed a direction cone pointing toward Aeolus Deep, near fractured basalt from ancient volcanism. Cade studied it. That is beyond normal EVA range. Yes, Elara said. So we do not go tonight, Cade said. It was not a suggestion. It was a rule. Elara agreed. Not tonight. Isaac spoke again. Diagnostics complete. No internal source identified. Antenna chain nominal. No scheduled transmissions detected. Jun stared at the waveform. Then what is making it? Isaac answered, calm. Unknown origin. Elara hated that word on Mars. Cade made a decision. We log it. We send a report to Earth now. We do not run experiments. We do not talk to it. We observe. Jun nodded. Yes, Commander. Elara nodded too. She wanted control. She wanted procedure. She wanted to feel that humans were still the ones making choices. Jun started packaging the data. Earth would receive it in minutes, then debate for hours. Earth would tell them to be cautious. Earth would ask for more data. Earth would remind them of risk. And meanwhile, the signal kept repeating, calm and steady. Cade asked Jun, "How long has it been doing this?" Jun hesitated. "I searched older archives. I found faint traces in historical noise. It was there before, but weaker. It is stronger now." "Why now?" Cade asked. Elara forced herself into science. "Maybe our drilling and habitat vibrations changed stress patterns. Maybe the sensor angle improved. Maybe temperature cycles shifted." Cade nodded. "Maybe." Then, without warning, the pattern changed. Jun sat up fast. It changed. Elara leaned in. One pulse stretched slightly. The long pause shortened. Cade's eyes snapped to Isaac. "Any transmissions?" "No transmissions initiated," Isaac replied. Jun's voice tightened. "It changed on its own." Cade stayed steady. "Could be drift." Jun shook his head. "It is too clean." Cade turned to Elara. "What changed on our side?" Elara replayed the last minute. No tools moved, no files opened, no external contact, no system cycles changed. Then Elara realized one small difference. She had spoken more in the last minute, and she had used the word engineered. "It shifted after I spoke," Elara said quietly. Cade looked at her hard. "Correlation is not proof." "I know," Elara said. Jun's voice came out small. "Please do not talk to it." Elara should have agreed. She should have stepped back. She should have locked the room down and waited. But Alara's scientist mind wanted one simple test. If it was only geology, words would not matter. If it was something else, it might react. Not because it understood English, but because it detected vibration, breath, timing, presence. Elara leaned closer to the console microphone used for internal logs. She kept her voice low. She said one word, clear and plain. "Hello." Jun turned sharply. "Elara, no." Cade's voice dropped. "Step back." Elara watched the waveform. For a moment, nothing happened. The pattern continued. Then the next pulse arrived early, and inside the long pause, a new small ripple appeared, like a faint signature inside silence. It repeated in the same place on the next cycle. Then again. Jun's face went pale. He did not speak. He did not blink. Cade froze for one full breath. Then she looked at Isaac. Isaac spoke, and its calm voice sounded the same, but the words felt heavier. "Anomaly detected. Signal structure changed." Jun whispered her. Elara stepped back. Her mouth felt dry. The pattern repeated again with the ripple inside the pause. Then the timing shifted again. The interval was no longer 47 seconds. It drifted closer to a human rhythm, closer to Alara's rhythm. Elara became suddenly aware of her breathing. In, out, in, out. Her chest rose and fell. Her body tried to stay calm. The signal adjusted again, a little closer, as if it was matching her without knowing what she was. Jun's hands hovered over the keyboard, then dropped into his lap. Cade's voice remained controlled, but control now sounded like effort. "Sit down, Elara!" Elara sat. Cade turned to Jun. "Send the report now." Jun nodded and hit transmit. The data packet left the habitat and raced toward Earth, silent and late. Cade looked at the screen. "No more interaction," she said. "No more words. We observe." Jun nodded. "Yes." Elara nodded. But Elara could not stop one thought from landing in her mind with cold clarity. Before tonight, Mars felt empty. After tonight, Mars felt aware. And deep under the red sand, something had finally noticed the humans above.